Welcome to episode 5 of the missile build. Thank you guys for all the love so far on this thing. We are pumped. Glad you guys are enjoying it. You know what? I'm gonna shut up. Let's freaking get to work. So one of the things this car was missing was the factory handbrake. It didn't have a hydraulic handbrake or any handbrake at all. It's an important tool. I know we do talk about avoiding using it a lot. As you get further and go on, start tandeming, all that stuff, you are gonna use the handbrake a lot. So you really need some sort of handbrake. I really like the stock handbrake. We got a stock e-brake handle. It was 50 bucks used. I got real fancy with it. Wrapped a bandana around it, put a crown roll bag to cover up all that junk. And these are pretty readily available if you guys are missing one. But you probably won't be. This was like a little weird one. So the handle's in. I'm pumped on that. Looks good, works good. And that'll work. Simple, effective, pretty decent looking. I'm never gonna use my Speedo and I don't think it works, so I just covered that up. So, pretty stoked. We got another Hero 9. So as you can see, there's some camception going on here. Camception. Stoked!
Okay, so we got some parts in. Let's see if we can get these installed and if they'll work. What we got is some e-brake cables, and these are factory style e-brake cables from GK Tech. So these are brand new. We could have bought used ones, but I'm always a little bit afraid to buy used cables because we are unsure if they've been stretched or if they're just kind of worn out. So we went with brand new ones. These ones were 99 bucks from GK Tech, as well as our extenders. The science behind these is they actually extend the cable to give a little bit more leverage on pulling for better locking on the rear brakes. I'm assuming they're going to bolt into the factory location here and then give the ability to extend the cable a little bit, and hopefully that'll give us more leverage when we're pulling down on it and make it a little bit easier to lock up those rear brakes. Also, I forgot to mention these extenders here. These are GK Tech as well, specifically for the S13, and they are $52. All right, we're gonna start with the right rear here. Basically, the piece that we're gonna be replacing is this piece here. Now, to me, this one looks bent, so it's damaged anyway. And more or less, this is going to replace that piece just like this. And as you can see, it's quite a bit longer. So that'll give us more leverage in the long run when pulling this. Yeah, that's the piece. Let's get it swapped out. So now that we've got those extenders on, before we put the caliper back on, I'm gonna throw some new pads on this thing. I have no idea what kind of pads were on it, how old they were, if they were bed in properly, etc. So we have these EBC yellow stuff rear pads for this thing. These are great pads, guys. They also, if you're using them for your street car, come with these nice rubber 3M, I guess they're like rubber. Basically, you would cut these out and glue them to the backside, and that eliminates some of the brake noise. But we don't really care about that on a race car. But guys, these are great pads. Basically, they come with this break-in coating, this red coating on them, and this makes the bedding process a lot easier. It's almost automatic bedding. So let's get these thrown in and get going. All right, so got them in. Let's see if we can't get these fit in here. Beautiful. All right, let's see if we can get this side's cable ran. So there's a locator pin on top here, and that's gonna go right in that hole there and then bolt up. And then you have the splitter here, and one half goes in there. And then when we put the other side in, it'll go in that hole right there and run this direction and do the same thing we just did. So let's see if we can't get the rest of this thing done, and then we'll check back in. So now that both sides are together, we're gonna check it out and see if it works. Let's go ahead and pull the button out here and give that a rip. I'm gonna throw a wheel on, see if I can't spin that. Whew. Well, boys and girls, we got ourselves an e-brake. Oh, hey y'all. It's time to talk about something that's very important to me and should be very important to you also. Safety.
I actually didn't know it was on fire at this point.
Yeah, safety. Every car is required to have a fire extinguisher before it goes out on track, whether that be a fire extinguisher like this one, a 2.5, a 3 pound. It should have a quick release handle for easily removing the bottle. We are going to find a great place to mount this that is easily reachable by the driver when they're fully belted in. This we got for $48. It is a Merex, and this will work just fine. All right, guys, so we've already tested it, and when you're sitting in the driver's seat, you can actually reach your arm around, flip that, grab that thing, and get your fire out. That's that, guys. Make sure you have at least 2.5 pounds of fire extinguisher in your car, and make sure it's securely bolted down so it's not going to go flying around and hit you or hit your passenger while you're ripping. We are getting closer and closer to getting this thing out on the track. We are going to run the angle kit that's on this car. We're not entirely sure what it is. It looks like extended lower control arms and some sort of a modded knuckle. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure this is a modded knuckle, but it doesn't look factory, so we are gonna go ahead and assume that it has been modified or it was built specifically for this car as an angle kit. We're gonna run this the way it is with the wheels, the proper offset for some of our other cars for lack of making new wheels for this car. So what we need to do in order to keep this from being a bad rub spot is, see if we go all the way in, we're gonna get some pretty serious issues here. So what we need to do is we need to make some sort of a bump stop. I have a couple ideas in my mind, one of which is to utilize this hole here and bolt through something that has an adjustable bolt that will impact this portion of the knuckle. And what that will do is if we have one on each side, we'll come into full angle, and just before these hit, somewhere in that region there, it will hit a bump stop here. And we'll do the same on the other side where it will impact at the same point, so that we can adjust it for further changes in the future if we decide to continue to run these lower control arms. I'm gonna make it adjustable with basically just using a bolt as the stop that's double nutted so that it can be pulled in and out to allow for more or less angle. I'm gonna go ahead and see what we have around the shop. All right, I think I have a plan. I am not gonna fabricate anything crazy on top of the control arms. Basically, we're gonna use this hardware right here. The basic idea is we are going to drill a hole, oh, it's pretty dark in here, on top of the control arm, and use this hole on the bottom there as a spot to fit our nut up from the bottom. So I have these old U-bolt bolts for the rear end that used to be in the Tacoma. So I'm going to use these as spacers, and we're basically going to run this through the upper control arm, and on top of this bolt here we are going to weld a nut like that. Once this whole piece here is bolted through and this nut has been welded to the top of this bolt, then this gives us a nice way to thread in and double nut a bolt that will hit that knuckle here. So we'll use the head of this bolt as a pad for the knuckle to hit against to stop the steering. So this will allow us to have full adjustability in and out, and bam, we've got bump stops. Obviously this isn't like the best way to do it, but it's free and I think it's gonna work pretty good. So let's get to it. Okay, so if we get this guy about as close as we want it, which is somewhere in that region, but more or less, we should be able to weld the nut on the top of here, extend a bolt out, and make it smack that guy right there. All right, so we are done with the bump stops, got them all installed. This is kind of what we've ended up with here. All right, so we are in contact here. And then we'll check our other side. It leaves us a decent gap here. We could probably stand to run it a little tighter. Not too bad for about a half an hour and some used stuff. Guys, just use your noodle and maybe you can come up with some things, you know? Hey, so we're gonna go ahead and give this thing a try. I finished up the wiring. I'll just tuck that up in there. No one see that. So we're gonna test our switch panel and see if everything works. Oh! Sick.
Fuel pump.
Man.
This is a mystery switch to use someday.
That'll be like neons, bro.
I got USB too. Anybody want to talk about it? And charge your phone or your missile card?
God, 3 amperes?
It's a slight flex. Alright, fuel.
Give her hell. Oh, oh geez, tools.
Sick.
What do you think?
That is awesome.
We're getting closer and closer to this test day. Hell yeah, dude.
What a success.
She's got some old gas in her.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try my hands at some upholstery here. So this is like the glove box cover, and it had some just ugly fabric on it. I got some multi-purpose adhesive. Gonna spray that on. I'll probably cut to size first and then glue it on and staple it in. And we'll see what happens. It's pretty sick. It's gonna be super ugly on the backside, but the cover kind of is like a plastic trim that goes over it. But I'm just gonna kind of keep stapling and cutting, and I'll get back with you guys. All right, well, it's done. I don't know. I mean, it looks cool. Maybe it's perfect for a missile car. It looks sick from like 10 feet away. Jamie's probably like, oh, it's gangster. I really don't know what I should have done there. I have no idea. So, it is what it is. Just, let's just pretend like that little part by the handle is perfect.
Oh, come on, dude.
I think for missile status, we'll run it.
Look at how good it matches the seat.
What do you guys think? It does look pretty hot in there. It matches the seat. Besides a couple missing pieces, I mean, the car is pretty much done. I think it's time to put some color on it. We'll see you guys in a couple days. Hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you guys think of the build so far. Pretty soon here, we're gonna be taking her to the track as well. All right, peace out.